Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. Stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. Welcome, PR Maven Nation, to this week's episode, one of our mini episodes, a quick and informative look at why podcasting is a smart marketing strategy for businesses today. This podcast is presented by Marshall Communications, creator of the 65-step Marshall Plan process. For more information, visit marshallpr.com, and on the website under PR Maven, you will also find information about my two books, PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand. This week, I'll be sharing my Forbes Agency Council article entitled, Why Podcasting is a Smart Marketing Strategy for Businesses Today. So let's dive right in. Building an audience is an old strategy in marketing. Did you know that Proctor Gamble created soap operas so they could build an audience to buy their soap? That's right. Back in the 1930s, P&G sponsored daytime serial dramas on the radio to advertise their products to housewives. Why? Because research suggested that women wanted to be entertained while doing housework. How old-fashioned is that? And so literally soap operas were born. In the early to mid-20th century, Edward Bernays, long considered the father of public relations, also built audiences on behalf of his clientele, which coincidentally included P&G. The Conversation reports that to counteract President Coolidge's stiff image, Bernays organized pancake breakfasts and White House concerts with Al Jolson and other Broadway performers. Knowing that such events would garner significant media attention and ingratiate Coolidge with new social circles, Bernays provided an opportunity to control and regiment the masses in Coolidge's favor. Who can say no to a pancake breakfast, after all? Building an audience is as important now as it was then. We just have more tools at our disposal. From YouTube videos to blog posts and social media campaigns, there are more ways than ever to reach millions of people with your own content. Podcasting is one of the most powerful ways to reach people. According to one study, 57% of Americans over age 12 have listened to a podcast, up from 55% in 2020 and 51% in 2019. It is estimated that 116 million people listen to podcasts monthly. That's a lot of potential listeners. Because of that avid listenership and the popularity of home voice assistant devices like Amazon Alexa and Google Home, podcasting is now an important part of the marketing mix for a modern brand strategy. Home voice assistant devices are making it easier than ever to listen to music, podcasts, news, flash briefings, and other type of audio content while you're doing other things in your home, whether getting dressed in the morning, cooking meals, cleaning, or even relaxing on the couch. For that matter, you could listen while you're going for a run, or what I do, ride on my Peloton bike. Marketers can create podcasts to build an audience based on a brand or a specific area of expertise. If they trust you, then people are likely to start trusting what your business can bring to the table, and they'll show trust with their pocketbooks. Whether it's for your personal or organizational brand, building an audience of listeners who know, like, and trust you and are comfortable giving you their money is a smart business strategy. In fact, 41% of monthly podcast listeners have household incomes of $75,000 or more a year. Reaching them makes sense financially. So how do you reach them? As always, content is king. Make your content interesting. Make it informative. A podcast helps you tell your story so more people will know, like, and trust you. It allows you to position yourself as a credible expert from a listener's perspective. With my podcast, I'm able to do just that as an expert on public relations. When you invite a guest to be interviewed on your podcast, it becomes an in-depth, even intimate conversation. You can dig deep into your guest's background, what makes them tick, what they've accomplished, and what their plans are. Once you dig deep, you get to know your guest better, so you can help them solve their greatest problems. You're perfectly positioned to swoop in and save the day by helping them solve those problems that keep them up at night. With that in mind, your guests are often your best brand ambassadors. They're likely to have a sense of ownership in your podcast and to help promote it through word of mouth and their own social media channels. That helps you expand your sphere of influence and strengthen your personal brand. And you're not even doing all the work. As word spreads, you may even receive media coverage, the cherry on the podcasting sundae. When media members hear you describe your area of expertise, they're more likely to call on you the next time they have to report on a relevant topic. Your quote can become the closing quote of the story. Even if it doesn't lead to media coverage, a podcast is valuable in and of itself. All of the content that you create can be repurposed as blog posts, infographics, social media posts, ebooks, and even print books. In my own experience, there's no better cornerstone content for your area of expertise. Plus, all that content can boost your search engine optimization profile. That's your SEO profile on Google search and beyond. So what are you waiting for? Start podcasting and build your audience. For more insight, get access to my latest book, Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand, which is available on Amazon.com and Audible. And now we're going to listen to my friend Mike Duguay to share how PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand have helped him.
After reading PR Works, I really started to think about how marketing actually works. And I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but what I realized is that each platform nowadays that we use out there in digital media and social media has its own nuance and also quirks to it. And understanding how they're used is exceedingly important. Because when you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. And you can't approach it that way in marketing. And that's where I think Nancy's brilliance really shined in PR Works. I think Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand is really sort of the manifesto of understanding that there's many different levels to marketing. It's on your personal side of your brand, how actually you express yourself through business, but also what people hear you saying and what they see out there in the public eye as well. So I think what's really important there, that's really the blueprint of how you go about using these new social media platforms, but also to express who you are as a human being. Because people want to see you authentically and genuinely working with not only what you do, but also with the customers. And Nancy, on a personal level, I think that's who she is. She embodies that approach.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the PR Maven podcast. I invite you to share a review of the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation on Facebook. It's free to join, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you use an Alexa device, use your Alexa app to search the Skills and Games section to find and enable the PR Maven Podcast Flash Briefing. This will give you access to exclusive content and more PR and marketing advice. Thanks again for listening, and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.